That should be the real question. It's yeah, good morning. I was trying to figure out what day it was. I
Morning.
work too much on the weekends. It's all just kind of starting to blend together. Whew. So yeah, happy Monday. The second I started thinking, oh, is it Monday? I should say happy Monday, blah blah blah. I was like, man, it feels like last Monday it was 5 minutes ago, but also
Oh
3 years
yes.
ago. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
time is getting
Yeah.
very fuzzy. Yeah,
Last
good
week
morning.
was crazy. So
It
yeah,
really
it's
was.
yeah.
It really was. Yeah, so and this is what we want to talk about today. We want to kind of dig into, AI God. Obviously we had a lot of fun with it. We learned a lot of stuff. I think we're
You,
gonna have
you had a lot of fun with it. I was in the most stressful situation ever.
oh man. Yeah. But we should get into that because I think
Yeah.
yes, I can literally only imagine how stressful that was, and you handled it like a freaking gangster. It'll be really, really good. But I think we also learned some things that are going to allow us to do even bigger things. With how we launch the next one. So I think we can get into that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was not really prepared for that, but I expected something to be not perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, it's not like we missed a couple zeros. um Again, I'm talking about Chad, and I love them,
Yeah,
and they handled that so well. I just need to put that out there. Like, this might be an inside joke for some people,
yeah.
but yeah, no, that like the whole idea that we're sort of iterating fast enough to not get literally everything right. I mean that means we're doing it right, in my opinion. Right? Not everybody has to feel that way, but that this is because we wanted a high speed iterate, and it's working. So that's kind of fun. So, well, I guess why don't we start there? Just kind of go over what happened. Obviously, we were entertained, like all the people that are in the channel. I think there was like one person who's like, oh, this is a failed launch, you should just postpone it. And I was like, whatever, everybody else is having a good time. And it's not like it was a perfect launch, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it ended up working out.
I think there was even a count once fox contest.
This what?
Count once fox contest, because someone said over there, oh, I've never heard one say
Oh,
fox so many times in one single.
I didn't catch that. That should be, yeah, we should have a one fuck counter.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh man, I mean, deserved though. We were all excited about it. You tested it on testnet, it was gonna work, everything's freaking awesome. And
Yeah,
then
but I say I have to say that I made a mistake by not fully uh, testing on test. I tested that the script worked and that it was able to create liquidity pools. I
right.
never tested, I have to be honest, with that amount. And I realized there was a limit to the number of digits I could have in the creation request. Well, too late, because I figured out while we were doing that on mainnet. And then I said, okay, I will create this pool with a tiny amount and then open it. And I created it, and then I realized that there was another problem with how Taco handles the
Like the digits or
adding
whatever.
liquidity. No, uh, I had a problem with the fee with the fees that go to rewards and that go to burn
Oh,
and so on. There was a problem with that, and then we had to modify the token contract, update the token contract
like on the
before.
like on the fly.
Yes.
Okay, that's hardcore.
And yeah, and then it worked. But then it was also very good because I realized that we could have created the pools uh, before
Right.
and only allow people to start trading after
Like
the
when you lift.
IDO by
Yeah.
removing the exchange from the blacklist that we created. But that never came to my mind earlier because it's something we've never done in the
Well,
past.
and what that brings up, or brought up to me almost instantaneously, and it became more important as we started kind of doing an after action report. That means we could set up 10 pools. Like, we don't have to go
Yes.
fast, right? Like, we can set up 10 different pools with all of our different partners and project friends or whatever, and then drop all that at once. Because like one of the things
Yes.
that happened, just so that everybody is aware, Bullshit was whaled in with like a couple grand on the Nifty pool and got like 17% of supply or some stupid shit. Like he did quite well. it was a lot. And again, for anybody that doesn't know him, it couldn't be in better hands. Frankly, he's going to be thinking in terms of how to, support the entire ecosystem. But it could have been somebody who, just wants to make a quick profit, right? And that wouldn't necessarily be as good. Now, granted, I wish he would dump some so that I could buy more, but whatever. It's early days. So one of the things we wanted to try and figure out was, okay, so how do we make that like just way less likely, right? Because we actually wanted that to be less likely with doing the fair launch and honestly, that did have an effect, but we want to figure out ways to make it, make the spread a little bit bigger. And I think like if we do 10 pools or even 13, right? Like with the potential partners I listed this morning in our chat one, like, we've got, 10 to 13 of the top, 30 projects are friends of ours. That's huge, right? That's huge.
Absolutely. And I think that's amazing. But we should not forget that having someone end up with a large part of the supply will happen because we are trading microcaps here.
Yeah.
So if you want to come with a substantial amount of money, you will get a large portion of the supply, unless we were able to really create way more liquidity. Your strategy, I think it's good because we will increase it.
Yeah,
but we will still be creating microcaps here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, somebody could come in right now with 10 grand or whatever, and buy up tons of the TVL for sure, right? Like that's a thing that is possible. And again, like we can do all like whatever we can to sort of mitigate it or balance it, but that's going to be the case because we're starting where we're starting, right? If we could start with 500,000, we would, but
in the end, it doesn't matter. Let's say we were able to start with 250K.
Yeah.
Well, somebody has 1 million and he will come and do that. And no, let's start with 1 million. Well, someone with 5 will come, and you can't prevent that.
I can't argue with any of that. I'm really stoked about the plan though. Again, like, and it's fun. Like Bullshipples was actually helping us to understand how to make it so that he could never do that again. Which, I love the guy for many reasons. That's one of them.
Yes, and I think it's good, and it's good to mitigate it as much as we can, but we have to understand, and everybody has to understand that it's impossible to completely stop that.
Right. So I think for the next one, and for the record, we can't say, I won't say who it is yet, but we do know who the next Launchbags launch is going to be, and I'm a little excited about it, to be honest. So that's fun. When I'm allowed to announce it, believe me, I will. But just know that like the next one on the schedule, we actually finally have it, which I've been kind of gunning for a minute, just because we wanted to be able to do stuff. So for this next one, Juan, you suggested we kind of give it a couple weeks. I get more excited about that longer timeline all the time because we have like I think a much bigger sort of collection of ideas on how to do the promo and kind of how to do the launch, and I think it's going to be damn near a foregone conclusion. Those initial 3 pools between USDT and Wax and Nifty staying the same. But then, can I add 10 more partner projects? And the answer to that, I think, is going to be yes. And so, we're starting with 13 pools. It's like a whole other ball of monkeys, right? As far as like, where all of the supply is, and like it's going to be significantly harder to kind of snipe, right off the bat to get like the larger amounts.
Yeah, but and something I also learned is that even if somebody is able to snipe the pool, that is even very good for all the people who were able to make it to the fair launch, because then the price goes up and everybody has a very nice return on their investment.
Right,
they can sell or not, but I think it makes it very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. So, okay. So one thing that, and I think Bullshipples mentioned this, and I think like I think not, we haven't confirmed any of these ideas yet. And so everybody in the comments or anybody who has any opinions about it, like we still are kind of reaching out, getting feedback or whatever. But so I think some of the ideas that I personally really like for how we could do this next one, double the size of the fair launch to say 10% of supply. And instead of having like 200 spots, have 5,000. or like some much larger number,
Yeah,
right? And
I don't know if
then
5,000 is the number, but
maybe
yeah,
not,
I get
but
your point.
let's game it out, right? So
Yeah.
if we went with your and I think whitelist is even the wrong idea, right? You get a certain number of blends that you can trade in during the fair launch or what have you, right? Like if you get the blend NFTs, these are all the spots that you can buy.
Yeah,
So
some platform on Solana called those tickets. So they say, how many tickets do you want? And
much
in
better
the end, you
word.
have your tickets,
Right.
and you can use as many as you want. Maybe you don't have enough money right now because you want to keep some money for later, but you have 20 tickets. You can use 10 of those or 12 or whatever.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I love that. So then, again, I have this sort of like stretch target to partner with 20 different projects for this, right? So we had 5 for AIGOD, and of course we had the community NFTs go out to those 5 projects. For Wombat like 10 minutes before we were launching, but whatever, it worked out, right? Everybody was doing things very quickly, and by everybody I mean me. So it worked, right? That was great.
Yeah.
For a start. But right, there's a bunch of people that reached out that wanted to be partner projects for the next one, which of course gets me very excited. And so, if we have 20 projects out there, and we have got, it's not going to be a 3-day bounty block thing, right? It's like a freaking 2-week thing that we could do, basically, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be limited to bounty blocks.
True.
You can say things like, for example, okay, if you hold 5,000 Nifty in your wallet by
Just
this date,
drop it.
you will get 1. If you hold this amount of cake in your wallet, you will get 1, and whatever. So you start incentivizing a lot of activity in the market, not
Sign
only
me up
for the new token that is going to be launched, but for all the
other
partners.
That's always that's what we get
important.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think because Juan and I talk about this off air all the time, and that's like, honestly, that's like part of the foundation for why we got so excited about the bags idea, right? Is this whole thing, right? Like how we want to drive some attention to our future draws, but how do we like just make everything more valuable? How do we drive attention to Keck and to Shill and to Lithium and to freaking Broken Dolls and to everybody else, right? Like how?
Well, in general, how do we bring more attention to wax? Because just think about this. Think about AIGOD made it to the top 10. Okay, it's the number 10 token most traded on wax this weekend. And that is a ridiculously low volume.
Yeah.
We are very early. So just think about that. Think about what we were able to achieve with the first token. We made a lot of mistakes. We didn't promote it as much as we wanted. We did, and we will still make a lot of mistakes for sure because we are still in the learning process. But what I mean is that there's a huge potential for growth with what we're doing right now, and yeah, I think that the more attention we are able to bring to wax, the better for every project that is on wax.
Yeah, I think that's definitely got to be a part of it, right? So this is something that. I think I'm still kind of focused, primarily on just because this is where our network is, right? So like when I think, okay, I'm going to go get 20 different partner projects. Well, I mean, right now only one of them is going to be on Solana, but that number needs to grow, right? So like, and well, actually 2 actually sort of, right? So the Crypto Alpha thing, we're going to be doing some really cool things with them, and they kind of can see into Solana wallets, and they're kind of doing some loose connections there. It's not really a Solana product, but.
And what about partnering with the Taco team? They
I would
just
love
released Monster Rooms on Solana.
Oh man, I did. You know what? Scott actually said that, and I completely just that went over my head with all the craziness. Let's go. Quit threatening me with a good time. But yeah, so and I started posting, I'm trying to like follow a lot more Solana projects and stuff. And like there's even like this one dude that was posting like, oh, you look at the microcaps on Solana. And I'm like, no, you have to look at the microcaps on fucking wax. Definitely don't start counting my fucks, because that will not go well for anyone. It'll just be the only thing we ever do from here on in. But yeah, so I mean that, like, I think having that be a constant part of how we're thinking about this stuff and how we're communicating it in a regular way, right? Like if we had Solana Day, once a week or wherever, where now 20 of these products are, having some like whatever kind of communication, even if it's just tweeting about the WAF pipeline or whatever, like trying to reach out to those communities to sort of just give some more light, shed some light on this sort of opportunity. I think it's going to go really well.
Yeah. And I think one of the key things, the key moves that we have to do to attract people from Solana is increasing the TVL that we have for our tokens, make them more tradable.
Yep.
And I think that's something that these partnerships will help us achieve.
Yeah, so I'm part of my what I'm working on with Dennis this week for AIGOD is obviously getting farms. We've got a lot of partner projects that want to do some farm collabs, right? From Keck to Shipple to Lithium to there's tons. My goal is to have more than 10 launch over the next couple weeks, just because I have small goals. But on the back end of that, right? Like we were like, it was actually Keck offered, and then Chad actually offered as well. They want to basically donate some tokens so that we can create more LP and then burn that. And so we've actually got a system that Launchbags is going to initiate where projects can actually start doing that when they decide to do a collab. Do you want to maybe talk about like sort of where we landed on that one?
I'm not sure where.
I'll do it for you. This was your idea. So basically,
my idea. Okay.
Kind of. Yeah. So when I was talking to Chad about it, Chad was asking like, do you know these AIGOD people or whatever? I'm like, yes, very well, right? And so, if you want, you can, send it to them and you can definitely trust them to do what they say they're going to do. But then I started thinking like, not all projects are going to know each other necessarily, right? And could it, I was asking one this morning, could we set it up so that we have even like a manual way right now where people can send some token into Launchbags and say in the memo, this is for an LP collab with Chad, or, so AIGOD is sending some in or whatever. And then Chad sends some in, this is for the one with whatever. And then we do it. And then we've confirmed that LP is burned. And that's really sexy to me, right? Because we want to, obviously I want a lot of these projects to get to know each other and for, us to kind of build trust, but it's even cooler if we don't necessarily need it to accomplish these little goals, like in their own context.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I remember what you were talking about. And yes, as you said, right now we can do that manually, but in the future that can be done by a smart contract, which can work like I just forgot the name, like an escrow, like an escrow contract.
Right.
You have to receive from both parts, and then once it's there,
does it.
Automatically create the pool.
That makes me very happy. Even if it just it's just adding to that liquidity and then automatically sending that, so that, and then once it's done, we could even like send like a little receipt to those guys. And then again, like I'm just keep picturing the profile page for these tokens, like their TVL goes up, but I think like the burn TVL is almost like a its own thing as well, right? Like how much LP for AIGOD has been burned, like is permanent. And that'd be like a really interesting number, not only to have from like somebody who's like maybe thinking about buying AIGOD or whatever, or any of the tokens in our sort of ecosystem, but like, and then it also gives us a target, right? Like if you are one of these projects now, I mean, you're thinking, okay, we definitely need to raise TVL and come up with some really cool ways to do that. But can we actually raise that burned LP TVL so that there's like this floor that hopefully just keeps raising?
Yeah. The other thing that I think we have to fine tune is, should we start with 100% of the TVL in the pools, or should we add it gradually?
So
and I know that ideally you should start with as much as we can. But on the other hand,
is the other question, right? Like how do you add it after the fact without kind of tanking the price? If you're adding more,
I think you won't tank the price. I think if you add it later, what you will do is that you will add stability. The downside is that if you have less TVL in the beginning, the price will go higher faster, and you will allow people to get more of the supply of the token in an easier way. So
So I guess we're gonna kind of test this, right? Because like if we have everybody put in their stuff in the beginning, right? Like if a bunch of projects are sort of committing to do this with like $100 each or whatever right at the start, right? Like, I mean, what we're gonna see is like the lithium next token pair is gonna be like that price movement's gonna just be really intense for the first little bit, right? So like, great, we have that kind of locked TVL, but you know that there's gonna be that spike. Whereas now, you know, if we do 10 project partners with AIGOD right now, like that, it's kind of found its level, sort of, kind of, right? Like it's sort of found a whatever equilibrium it's going to be at for, you know, the time being or what have you. And so it's stabilizing it more at this level. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yes, something like that, indeed. Once you say, okay, it reached this level, let's add some liquidity there so that it's more difficult to to drop the price or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, well, and this is, I think, kind of the long-term goal for everybody, right? I mean, you want to, whatever you do, I mean, that I've been actually really excited about where the TVL for AI God already is without doing any of the farms or whatever. Like that's a big deal, and I think a lot of that might
and
but...
you know, that's also another learning experience for us, because I think that we talked about the vesting, we talked about, okay, this will go here, there, but we didn't execute it immediately. And I think that the rewards for adding liquidity should be ready almost
so actually,
24 hours after the...
I disagree.
Why?
And here's why. Like letting things kind of sit for a couple days allows us to then start layering it in, right? Because there's always the people that are like, they're looking at the Telegram channel, they want announcements to come like fucking every 35 seconds, right? Fine, cool your jets. Because here's what's going to happen. Having 48 hours pass is not terrible. I think if any projects want to have a whole lot of stuff going on in the first 48 hours, go with God, have fun, right? But to let it cool a little bit and then to start, you know, kind of like cranking the announcement game, I think is going to be a really fun way to go. And I could be wrong. I could be, you know, there might be a better way to do it.
I think it's not about creating engagement and more announcements. I think it's more about having the community involved in helping us with creating a bigger TVL for the projects.
Yeah, like quicker.
So I see your point with not wanting to have a lot of announcements one after the other. I think it makes sense, but I also think it makes sense to try to grow the TVL for these liquidity pools as much as possible, as fast as possible. So I don't know.
Maybe we can sort of end that, right? Like we want to. I think we would create some consensus around starting with a bunch of partner pools, right? And I think like projects want to put in, you know, various amounts or what have you, but let's say, you know, projects want to put in like $100 each or whatever, right? Which like is just from Lifting's point of view, it's completely and totally a gimme. Of course we would do that. But if that was all that we could do, and Uplift could probably do a little bit more, but if that was all that we could do, maybe we start with $50 on one side and then wait and do the second half after.
Yeah, for example, we could do that. Yes.
Okay, so that's sort of interesting too. Then, and I guess we would have to actually maintain some supply back from AIGOD to basically, or whatever, right? If we were doing this again, so you know, maybe instead of putting 46%, like maybe like it was kind of our goal to get over 50% out in the world as quickly as possible. But maybe like a little bending on that to create more stability in the ecosystem and to have more kind of dry powder on the launch bags token to kind of further things down the road would make sense.
Yeah, I know. I think that's important. And you know, the other thing that I keep on thinking how to implement is market making. I think that a market making strategy, it's important, even if we do it with a very reduce the amount of money, it should be happening there. There should be as much activity and as much liquidity available as possible.
Yeah, I agree. So when you say market making, can you kind of touch on a little bit about what you mean?
Well, normally when you list a token in an exchange, there's always a market maker working for you. And what is this market maker doing? He's making sure that there are always orders to buy the token and to sell the token when somebody wants to do it. There's liquidity there. Of course, this is centralized, and here we are working with something slightly different. well, if you go, I don't know if we already have trade markets for this on Alcor, if somebody created them or not.
I know Schipul is planning to do it. I don't know if they've done it already.
But I think that the moment we start with that,
Yeah.
there should be someone providing this liquidity so that that trading this pair is interesting.
Well, and you, I guess you could sort of like use that to bring the margin down or whatever, right? The gap. What's that called again?
The spread, yeah, the spread.
Thank you.
Reduce the spread. Yes.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Well, and I think it sort of, I know there's a couple of people that informally have been doing some a little bit of sort of day trading or what have you, and they tell me all about it or whatever, and they're basically saying like part of their underlying goal is to actually keep things in a less of a spread. So like you're going to see less of a spike up, but you'll also see less of a spike down, because basically like if they're selling into massive spikes, it's because they're keeping that powder dry to sort of buy up the moving averages and stuff like that. So that's, and also I feel like the market making is going to kind of maybe not intentionally, but it's going to kind of have that effect, right? If you're keeping the spread low, then you're allowing the trading to.
That's part of the purpose, indeed. So
spread me with a good time. So I guess, and we talked about this before, and I don't know what's involved with this, but I wonder if we could set up, or what it would take to set up like a market making service. Right.
I think that's something that we will have to develop. Maybe right now it's too early, but I think that it's something we should always keep in mind if we want this to succeed.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to get to a couple comments here. Crypto Shorts. This is from a little bit ago, but I think it's worth going back here, and I'm grateful for the comments. So incentivize community with random pre-mint pool NFT promo stickers with predetermined mint numbers from the pool for bonus fair launch tickets that boost their launch entry buy-ins. I don't understand what half of that means, but I like it. I mean, the sort of ethos behind it, right? Like I want to have 20 partner communities. I want them to tell me how, like what would benefit them the most, right? Okay, so we've got, this way to do, blends. Because I really do like, kind of where we sort of landed with, the community NFTs going out, and then also requiring some kind of bounty block, like social, to use Crypto Shorts. He's talking about guerrilla marketing, like that kind of thing, right? So we have the community thing combined with like a larger attention kind of thing, like however we want to kind of run that, and those blending into tickets. Just that seemed really fun. Now, granted, I think like having that really more visibly planned out in advance is going to be good though too, just so there's less confusion.
Yeah, that absolutely. And I think that this part of utilizing more the community as guerrilla marketing, that's very important. And there it's one of my other learnings. I think that our communication strategy was suboptimal. I think that we could have communicated way more. I think that we didn't. There were many more communities interested in participating on this activity. I think that we didn't use, for example, the Nifty Blocks Twitter account enough. I think we didn't use the Nifty Blocks website to advertise anything. So I think that we could really be using all of our channels in a much better and more efficient way.
Yeah, I mean, this was, again, like rule number one for the first one was launch it yesterday. And so, I think, but I and I think part of this, looking backwards, is always kind of easier, right? But that's exactly why I was so excited about doing this so quickly, because we're seeing not necessarily what we missed, but what like the opportunities that now exist because of the ways that we can. I think optimizing it is a great word, right? Like that, like was it optimal in the beginning? Of course it wasn't. Like, are we going to have 100 good ideas about how this next one's going to work? Yes, and I think we're going to have another 50 good ideas about how the third one goes and how we can do better at collaborating with everybody, right? So I think it's going to be fun.
For sure, and we will make more mistakes, and that's also good, because those mistakes will allow us to learn and to stabilize further the platform and come up with better plans and better ideas for the next launch and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, even like I guess we could put the call out now Because I've got kind of like an earmark. Like I know some projects that I have been talking to that we're already kind of excited about it, but maybe I should like not be assuming that those are all of them, right? So like if Nefty wanted to put like a banner up saying, "Hey, we're taking partner projects right now for anybody that wants to be part of this next launch." Maybe it's just a good time to do that now, right? Like we know who it's going to be. We're going to be announcing it really soon. We had really like a lot of fun on the first one. Who's interested in coming and chatting with about the next one? Because like if we get more than 20, oh no.
And the next launch is planned for to happen 2 weeks from now, right?
Yes.
Something like that. Let's say in the range of 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But if we get our third project right now, we will have more time to start planning and start promoting with that third project, trying to make it even a bigger success. So the earlier we get this third partner, the better.
I think the third partner is locked down already for early June. I'll confirm that, but
yes, I
right.
remember.
So like that might exist already, but like I should firm it up with them, and we should start making plans, because I think if that's gonna be the case, figuring out how we want to kind of layer that into our process is gonna be really important. And really, like with what we've seen so far from these guys, they're not gonna need any of our help, but it's gonna be really fun to help them anyway.
Yes, but I think that it's not true that they're not going to need any of our help. I'm pretty sure they will do amazing without our help.
That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is that we should really become the catalyst to make this 10 times bigger than what it could be without us.
Yeah,
that should be really our goal.
That's what I'm excited about, like grinding as much as it takes to make that happen, because I think it creates so many different opportunities for so many different products that we start collaborating with. Even just thinking in terms of like for Uplift, right? We just launched staking. I'm already thinking like the number of potential community NFTs and partner airdrops that can go to those staking NFTs is sexy as hell. And that's just for the Uplift, right? Like just selfishly, this little thing that I've been doing or whatever. We grind a whole bunch of opportunities that way. And that's fun, and I think like that scales, right? Like that we're gonna be able to do that for a lot of different projects. Like basically whoever wants to come in and play with us and sort of create some buzz around whatever we happen to have going on the platform.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Oh, I like it. And really, like if anybody who's watching right now, if you had any experience or any feedback or what have you, like definitely comment. Comment on the YouTube if you can. I'll go look at the Twitter, but sometimes I don't get the Twitter comments as fast as we get the YouTube ones. So
the YouTube comments,
it's a little bit better. Let us know what you thought. Like because there's I think there was some very, very good constructive feedback. Well, I mean, I guess on some of it. So I mean, obviously the fair launch sold significantly faster than I thought it was going to, which is a great problem.
And you know what I really liked about that? I really got the feeling, the same feeling I had a couple of years ago when there were NFT drops basically every day, and there was something. So I think this is good. It really felt good.
It's the vibe.
It's the vibe,
it's good stuff. So I think, and we're gonna sort of we'll game it out, but I think with the tickets, there's gonna be X amount of tickets out there. So so Juan, what do you think about having more potential tickets? Because it's gonna really depend, right? Like the number of possible sort of guerrilla marketing attention side things compared to the number of possible community things, right? That'll sort of tell us what the number of possible tickets will be. And then like, do we want the tickets to be less than the amount that is ultimately available? Or, right? Because like that to me is the only way to ensure that it sells out. Because I want that vibe just selfishly, because I really dig that. But is that necessarily the right thing to do?
I don't know if that's I don't think that's the only way to sell out. Okay. And I think that fights a little bit with the concept of fair launch, because I think
Right.
it's fair
People have
to
said
have
that, and that,
more tickets. If you're grinding more, if you're promoting more, get more tickets, that's fair.
yeah,
But saying that you did your homework and you might not be able to buy,
yeah, no,
I
that you're
think
right about
that
that.
removes the concept
So
of fair launch.
yeah, no, that I like that, and so you're totally right about that, and everybody who said that, you guys are right about that too. So okay, so you know that we just set it up so that every single ticket is gonna let you get in and buy, and so I guess if that was the case too, would we even really need a cooldown on that, or could people just grind through?
Maybe not.
Right, you
Maybe
just
we don't
shoot
need
out
a
tickets,
cooldown
right?
exactly. But
So
what we could have, it's and this, I don't know, it's just an idea. We could say, okay, you have your tickets, but
yeah,
if you come on time, you will buy at this price. But if you come half an hour later, the price will be slightly higher. And if
that's
you come half an hour late,
that's
it will be
hard.
a little bit higher. I don't know, something like that. But it's just an idea. I'm not saying that it will be like that.
No, but I mean, that's a thing. Yeah, it felt a little bit like a drop from the Art Planet days. Yes, and
Yes.
that's like anybody that was around then, you realize why we're all grinning, because it was like, not necessarily easy to get them. When you got them, you were pretty excited.
Yeah.
Granted, it was also kind of like trying to get those freaking Keck miners for Keck over there, home slice. And that's something else I want to talk about, because Juan and I are talking a lot about, okay, what does the next launch on Launchbags look like? What is the next couple weeks gonna look like for AIGOD? Because there's a lot of work to do there, and I'm gonna help Dennis with a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like down the road, I have to give Keck a shout out for this, because like what they're doing with those mining NFTs is very much on my mind. It's really, really cool, right? They went from like, okay, we have a certain amount in the rewards account built up by all of our volume and the transaction fee or whatever, right? And Keck like basically doubled it. He's like, yeah, no, that's cool, but we're gonna make everybody buy these miners with Keck, and we're gonna burn 20% of it, and then the rest of it's gonna go into the rewards. Like that's just like, I see you. Let's get cake. And people dug it, right? And then they're gonna have some on sale for wax, and go read into it, because I think like what they've done is something that I think every project should be paying attention to why it is working, and come up with their own kind of innovative ways to try and capture that vibe, because it really worked. But yeah, so like there's longer term stuff that I think all these projects are going to be doing, and that's exciting too, frankly, because I mean that this is just one really good idea of the 100 good ideas that everybody in this ecosystem is going to have before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Booleans. Hey, do you want to see a picture of you testing the pools?
No.
Did he send it to you? Okay, it's not actually you. TC made a sort of a. I'm gonna just have to show you now, because it's even funnier now that you've said that. Doo, doo, doo. Okay, so this is TC's rendition of Juan testing the pools.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
And why
So
why
funny.
a cat? Why
I
a
don't know.
cat? Come
People are
on,
just
TC.
I think he's just fucking with you now. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Meta, that's interesting, right? Instead of punish, reward, come on time, get a reward, maybe give 3 rewards beginning, middle, and end. It's actually the same exact effect, right?
Yeah.
So like the price is going to be the price, but if you show up early, you get more. It's just a much more fun way to say
Yeah,
it.
that's a very good way of doing it, indeed.
Yeah, it's a better reframe. So one of the other things that people brought up, and I don't know if we want to necessarily do this, because I think Our Planet definitely did not, and they managed to make things work. Is there were a few requests for having a couple different drops, so that people in Japan could sort of have a time that was a little bit better. I wonder if it would make sense, one, to sort of, if we were going to do that too, right? And this is just for the tickets thing. So the first one, it's open, and it's designed so that every ticket that's out there's going to be a spot, right? So you don't have to worry about it. Like it's not going to sell out the first time, right? So we do that, and then we do the next one, like 12 hours later, or whatever it is, right? And then just whatever doesn't sell after that automatically just opens up to the pre-sale, and
To
anybody can
whoever wants to buy it.
right, just
That's
and then
interesting.
right, and then that, after that it was done, it sells out in freaking 5 minutes because everybody, all the whatever pent up demand is there because they didn't get time to get the community NFTs or the blend or the tickets or whatever, can just automatically kind of funnel in, and anybody who wants in on the fair launch can do it. And then like that to me is the real number, right? Like how long between it opening up and it's selling out it is there, not including the tickets, where everybody has basically all the time in the world at a confirmed spot, and like that stress, they already put in the work, so they know they're going to be able to get it as long as they do it on that day, one of those 2 times.
Yeah, I kind of like it, and if we do it like that, I'm pretty sure that you will always sell out because there
100%.
will be people interested in getting that remaining part.
How
Because
many people were
it
gunning?
was a little bit
Yeah.
like getting to the third round on Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that was really exciting.
That was good.
Because there were less. Everybody had already two allocations. They were
Right.
able to buy 50 billion, was it?
Yes.
50 billion.
Yes. Yeah.
But only a few were able to make it to 75. So that was very, very nice. So I like that.
Yeah. And I really do. I have and again, like figuring out how we can sort of get that sellout vibe, but also if you're going to put in any of the work in advance, like all the stuff, and you're helping us get attention, and you're helping to get more attention to Wombat or to Keck or to Nefty or whatever, right? Like having that be like a 1-to-1. Yeah, no, you have that ticket. Here's your 2 different time slots to use it, and you have to use it at those times, but like we're going to make it as convenient as we can.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to race. And then after that, like we basically preset it up so that there's actually a little bit more supply than what we need, maybe, right? Like there's going to be a little bit of fair launch that's just open, right? And whatever people don't get from the tickets, we just kind of add into that, and then it just like Bob's your uncle, rock and roll, and then we do the IDO, and you're off to the races.
Yeah. My only concern with that approach is that if I remember from NFT drops a couple of years ago, when you had an NFT drop and it didn't sell out really quickly, or if there was a cooldown and it wasn't maxed out before going to the next time slot, then the drop was going to be a failure.
It did.
And we don't want that to happen here. Well, it's not like come whenever you want. You have to, you don't have to rush. You will get your allocation, but you don't have eternity to claim.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this is honestly like, so one of the changes, so we did the 6-month staking for Uplift, right? And my initial idea was, we let people only do kind of 1 a day every day for a week or whatever, right? And watching all of this stuff and frankly remembering exactly that same thing, I announced it, but I was like, hey, I'm taking all the restrictions off it, and because like if there's enough demand out there to sell this thing out, that's way better for us than making sure that in this first one, and there's going to be future ones, right? In this first one, that like literally everybody gets the most possible convenient way to do it. Like that. Yeah. I love the idea that like more people get it, in a way that works for them. But the fire and the hype of having something sell out, which by the way, this did in 23 hours, is more important. It's a big deal, right? And anything that we can do to sort of like make everybody happy all the time, great. But the fact of the matter is 6-month staking is gone. And but we're going to figure out as a sort of community, how to move forward and how to do the next one, blah, 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 right? But, 3 billion Upliftium of 21 billion circulating supply locked up in 23 hours.
Yeah, and that's good, and I fully agree with doing something to allow more people to be involved. But maybe that looks only like doing the fair launch or starting the fair launch at a different time. Maybe 11 a.m. is not the ideal time. Maybe it has to be 1 p.m. or maybe it has to be 3 or whatever. But I mean, there are other ways to maximize the audience that you will have without removing this emotion and this feeling of this good vibe that we got.
If I had to start the show at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, I'd fucking do it. Okay. Keep threatening me with a good time. So yeah, and again, if anybody has any ideas on that, the people that were sort of suggesting that we try and do 2, I really don't want to do 2. Like one, it feels like there's just more energy to it. But if we can find a time that works better for as many people as we possibly can, I'm very, very open to that, because that is really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah, I think that's better.
What else did we learn?
Oof. Well, I don't know. I think my biggest learning, besides test exactly what you're going to do on testnet before going to mainnet.
Yeah.
Besides that, I think that that my biggest learning is that if you organize something that it's fun for people, they will come. But it has to be fun. It has to be exciting. The excitement should be there.
Yeah. No, that's
And
working backwards from that.
That was cool.
Yeah, I think it is. And really, like, we've set a precedent. Obviously AIGOD is number 10 on Wax, and honestly it'll probably go back into the top 20, I would imagine, right? Because like Chad had its moment at number 10 for a second, who knows, right? But like invariably the launch worked pretty well, things considered. And of course, like now it's up to Dennis and his little growing team to do some interesting things. Again, like over the next month, I'm going to be helping out a lot. I know they've got a lot of interesting things planned, so that's going to happen anyway. Whatever. But then, yeah, like what worked, we just tripled down on it, right? Did getting all those communities involved work? Fuck yeah. So let's do way more of that.
Yes.
And even the 3 days of bounty, like I had people like, oh God, is there more? Is there more? Is there more? Like over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, we'll do, some of that more. But I think when I think bounty block, I'm thinking like because maybe we should actually define this a little bit. Because you're saying like, it doesn't have to be bounty block, but it does, or it could be, not does. It could just be, having X amount of Nifty staked is gonna. Wouldn't that,
or
we
cake or
separate
whatever?
Right, but that's what we're like. I want to have communities give me potentially 3 different things at 3 different times that they want to do, right? And I don't want to make it too complicated, but just as an idea, right? So like that, and all that's community stuff. Like how much Nifty you have on your wallet in 10 days. That could be one, but it's going to get you a community NFT, right? Like I loved the idea of, the bounty block as an idea is really just about attention, right? If you're creating some kind of noise on social media, or if we decide some other thing, right? So it's like on one side there's community, on the other side there's just like raw attention, and having those two things sort of bifurcated, and then you blend those 2 things to get the ticket. That just feels really strong to me.
I get your point. I get your point.
Right? And really, it could be like another example, right? So okay, so on this day you have this much, in your wallet or whatever. Here's the tweet about it from Nifty. Freaking retweet and comment on this, right? Like that's your social end, right? So it's, and again, like if people are grinding the social media side of it or whatever, some of those might end up on secondary market. So if you're not doing any of the social media stuff, like maybe you kind of like just want to spend, $1 in WAG or whatever it is, right? To get those things, but it sort of just allows those things to sort of play off each other a little bit.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing that we should be doing. Well, yeah, I really like bounty block, but I think that there are things that could be done on social media that cannot be tracked with a bounty block, and that it would be very nice to be able to track with some other tools. But I'm not aware of tools that can allow us to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's it's you gotta live off the land, as it were. But I think like if we have those sort of high level principles, we can definitely figure that out. I just gotta Joe Stroh says he guys, I'm salty because I didn't get a 6-month staking NFT. I would have liked a pool of restricted one per wallet NFT and a second pool where you can buy multiple NFTs. So we're gonna take a bunch of comments, because again, like I changed it, sort of as we were making the drop, based on honestly on how this went with AIGOD, and like the whole idea that we don't know if it's going to sell out. I don't know how long this is going to take or whatever, but if it does create a lot of intensity up front, that long term, that's really, really exciting for the uplift. And so that all happened. We're going to figure out when the next one is going to be. There's some differing opinions on how long that should be, and we're going to hash that out in the Discord, and I want everybody to kind of vote on that after we sort of lay the case out. But yeah, then I think figuring out how to how to try and do maybe both of those things is something we can really look at for the uplift, right? Like, how do we get it so that, if people are even, spending, if they're sort of, maybe we even do the ticket thing, frankly, right? Like, if you're doing stuff in advance, and there's community or attention stuff or whatever, and you manage to get one of these tickets, like anybody that gets a ticket between now and whether it's 6 weeks or 3 months from now or whatever it is, whenever the next window is, that they like for sure get one. It just means that like we sort of can hopefully try and do better at that. Because I mean, this I've thought it was going to take the better part of a week to sell out, not a day. So we can, but I'm open to all ideas about this, because we did change some things kind of right up front, and then it kind of went bananas. So yay for bananas. But we'll run some votes on how to run the next one, and how we all decide that it's going to go. That's exactly how it'll go, because proof of concept finished and successful. So now we'll sort of iterate and come up with some kind of more firm ideas and some consensus and shit. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks. No worries. Just salty. I mean, so I think this sort of goes to that saltiness, because honestly I wanted more. I told people that I wasn't gonna whale in the first day, so I didn't, and so I got a bunch sort of the next night, and then I said, hey, there's only like 20 or 30 left or whatever it was, so I'm gonna leave these till till tomorrow. I'm not gonna get any more. I wanted them all and I didn't get any of them, because they sold out like for an hour and a half later. So believe me, I'm with you. Anybody who's selling, I'll buy them at cost right now, just because it'll be fun. But but that's kind of the thing, right? Like, we wanted more of it and it was limited, but we can figure it out. We could drive even more demand, because people don't even know what all the airdrops that I'm planning is going to be like. Like, that's going to be a whole other level. And if I do my job right, people are going to want way more. And I mean, there's not going to, we're not going to add more than, like, this round is probably the best round that ever existed, right? Like, we're going to want to be super careful about adding to it, but in a way that hopefully benefits as many people as possible, right? So Joe, like, figuring out how to confirm, how to get like a confirmed spot or whatever, I think is going to be an interesting thing. And by all means, go to the Uplift Discord and let's hash it out, because I think we're going to, toss around some ideas about that, this week for sure. Diatribe over. Yeah, it was good. I mean, that's it's the same thing. Like, the people were wanting the community NFTs and the bounty NFTs so much that I did a whole other day of bounties, right? Like, running right up to the thing. We had 30 potential bounty NFTs that were out there. So I said, screw it. Let's just, who wants to try and win them? And we had more people doing that bounty block thing every day, right? Because you could, earn multiple times a day, which, for the record, I think that was your idea. Huge fan, right? Just like allows people to kind of build it up. And really, I think educates us for this one, right? If, let's say I earn like 15, 20 community things on the other side, like, how do I set up, a very significant number of sort of attention side things for the blends, and do that. I wonder too, would it make sense towards the end? And this is just brainstorming, so like, nobody write this down.
Yeah, everything here is brainstorming.
Right? We're just having ideas right now, for crying out loud. I just want to, and honestly, everybody who watches this show already knows this, so you guys are good. But still, maybe towards the end, if it made sense, if you have multiple community NFTs, we could basically set it up down the road so that maybe they could blend any two of those to get a ticket or something. Like, if there was, like, if we ended up with more on the community side than on the attention side. But I mean, the goal would be to balance it, right? I mean, that's sort of the idea, especially considering now, like, I don't think like the whole airdropping to communities, like, I'm going to be airdropping to very likely to the stakers, because I don't really know how to do the claim thing yet. But like, part of the reason why we had less bounty block side ones than the community side ones is because we airdropped a lot of the community side ones, so that just, they ended up in some wallets where people weren't necessarily going to pay attention.
Yeah, I think that's really a problem, and that's what I don't like about airdrops. Well, about airdrops where you didn't have to do your homework before the airdrop, because then you end up giving rewards to people who are not even aware that they got something.
Right.
You know that there are still a lot of wallets that haven't claimed their Nifty from the Nifty token airdrop that we did before releasing the token like 3
Really?
years ago. Yes. So there I learned that
Has to be a claim if you
it
can.
has to be claimed or it has to be airdropped to somebody who intentionally did something to be part of that. Otherwise,
Well,
you just
on the staking side,
yeah.
that like these people, it's definitely been a. I think I'll be surprised if somebody has a staking NFT and they get an airdrop and they didn't know it was coming. But we'll see down the road. Hopefully, we have 1,000 people doing NFT staking someday. So that's gonna be the whole thing. Geeky, isn't the uplift burn kind of more a tribute to all the people still holding old NFTs? Could you maybe restate that? Because I don't understand what that means. Because I don't think we're doing any uplift burns that I'm aware of. Although technically, 6 months staking does actually burn it and just kind of gives it back to you on the other side, but different thing. Meta builders and SDP Pax Cloud. So Meta, we're gonna meet later on today or this week or something, kind of brainstorm some stuff. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So that's a whole thing. All right. So it was a week, and this week is gonna be another week. I think I need more naps. Like, this is gonna need to happen.
Yeah, and this week we really have to start working like today because if we really want to release this second token, to launch this second token,
100%. I mean, working backwards,
we really have to start.
I mean, Meta. I'm just going to assume that Meta Builders wants to be one of the community projects. I'm going to reach out. I've already talked to a few because I'm working with them to do the token collabs for AIGOD. So like I've got like a 12 or 13 projects that I'm going to be talking to today. But if you know of any projects that get them on the freaking show. We're excited to have them on here. But if they want to be part of this next launch bags launch, let them know, because it's going to be a pretty intense couple weeks promo. Hopefully tons of cross collab kind of potential, that kind of thing, right? Maybe that's where we start. Like, we put the word out. Anybody who wants in, come and say hello, and we'll start figuring out a plan of how to get community NFTs out and kind of how we want to balance all that stuff. We'll figure it out. But first, who wants in? And then we rip from there. And I'll tell you right now, everybody's gonna freaking love the next freaking meme. It's
it's a good one,
dude.
It's a good one.
And they've been sending me AI images from all of their ideas like every 15 minutes since I showed them how to do it at my show yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Dude, it's so nuts.
Cool.
Yeah, they're not having any fun. Anyway, the second that we have some stuff in place, so I can announce that, I will. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll be able to kind of let people know. And actually, I'll see if I can get them on the show this week too, just to kind of.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes.
Yeah, and introduce them to everybody.
Yeah.
Could there be a chat in the marketplace where people can chat to one another? You mean like launch bags itself, or I don't know if that would make
on Nifty blocks.
Yeah, does that make sense? Because like, do people use the social on the Wax cloud wallet? Because I don't. But I mean,
I don't think so.
Maybe people do. Yeah.
I mean,
like having where's the conversation going? Like, Keck's got to have a profile page, right? They're going to be on the rating system. We're going to confirm a lot of stuff about them. They're going to be on there, all the pools and whatever, right? That's we want that for even friends of the, like people that are just in the ecosystem. We want them to be part of this too. So, where's the conversation for Keck happening? Is it happening on Launchbags, or is it happening in their Telegram chat? It's happening in their Telegram.
Everything is happening in Telegram all day,
yes. Right? So wherever the project wants to direct people to start having that conversation around that, it makes way more sense to sort of just lead people to where the people are.
And on the other hand, do you really want us to spend our development cycles developing yet another chat platform?
Right. Well, I
think it doesn't make a lot of sense, because I think our effort is better utilized creating something that it's not already available somewhere else. If it doesn't make sense, in my opinion.
Well, and then it's more places for the projects to manage too, right? So like, lots of requests for AIGOD to get a Discord. I have suggested to them that they wait, because they don't need it, right? Like, oh my God, projects are going to die if they're not on Discord. Categorically not true, right? Now, are they going to eventually end up on Discord? Of course they are, but they're still small, right? And even Keck, they launched a Discord. They just turned their Discord into announcement only, right? And so again, like we could do something like that where it's just an announcement only if people want to track information in that place. Dennis could set that up, and that'll be fine. But having more places to manage more of the conversation, and it just makes way more work for him. And it's just not needed now, right? Like they're like until you have a couple thousand people in your Telegram, you could probably do without also having a Discord. And again, like every project can come to that decision on their own. That's just kind of how, that's how we did it with Uplift. Initially, we didn't get a Discord till there was like 5,000 people in the Telegram. So worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they want chat or troll box? Yeah. That's Kek. Ultimately, we were just talking to him this morning. He's basically saying like, just, having to manage, apparently there was some fodder or whatever, you know what I mean? And if nobody's there, right? Cause like, there wasn't as much action in their Discord as in their Telegram channel, which is like wall to wall fun all the time. It's just more kind of overhead for the team. And I think there's comes a point where it's, where it's really worth the sort of time and building whatever team you need to build to kind of make that work. And I'm excited for AIGOD to have Discord because I'm going to be throwing an AI into their Discord the second it launches, and it's going to be freaking awesome. But all things in their time, while we need to be aggressive, which I don't know if you've met us, but this is kind of what we do. I also think like having some patience and understanding that all of this is going to happen in time is something else to watch, right? None of this has to happen 5 seconds from now, but all of this stuff is going to happen for sure. But yay for all of the hunger to, want to have more visibility and more comms and stuff, all the places that everybody loves to be. That ultimately is a good signal for any project. Good talk. All right. Well, there we go. I'm going to work with Dennis on the first farm today. And I think we're just so everybody might as well just tell everybody like we're still finalizing the vesting system. Because it's still Dennis's intention to all the team allotments, the marketing, all that kind of stuff, to have that in some kind of a vesting schedule. We're just kind of figuring out the mechanics of how all that stuff is going to work. But that's going to happen for AIGOD and probably every other project they'll launch.
Yeah, and as much as he will have a vesting schedule, he also needs tokens right now to keep on incentivizing the community and so on. So he has to come up with the right balance, and then we will make it happen as soon as that definition is there.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Crypto. There's loads of AI bots for Telegram as well, and honestly, like I'm excited because my team and I built a very robust one with MetaMinds. But we could probably plug it into Telegram too. And really, like, I don't know like all the different tools they have for Telegram, all the different commands and stuff. But it clearly is very robust, right? There's so many things that can be done in there, and I feel like I'm relearning how all the things that can be done in Telegram. So that's pretty exciting too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. Let's call it. I gotta go eat some more breakfast because all I had was like a slice of bread, which for the record was very good. Difference.
Very good bread.
Everybody's riveted by my bread buying habits. Anyway, so happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit today. Can't wait to tell you who the next launch is going to be. If you know any projects in the Wax or Solana or anywhere, frankly, like, if they're on base, eventually we want to get some attention over there too, right? I want to keep meeting projects all the time because we can't wait to brag about them on the show, have them on and tell them, introduce them to all you guys. So we're, accepting partner projects for this crazy thing that we're gonna
and also remember that we are not only welcoming token projects, NFT projects are welcome to come 100%. On the show, and so let's make it happen.
Actually, it reminds me, I didn't have PFP Wizards on my list to chat with today, and like that just needs to get changed right now.
Yes, PFP Wizards should be part of of these.
Well, even like the freaking aliens, and not least of which because I own tons of Wizards and aliens. but I do. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, that's Bob's your uncle. Is there anything else you want to add before we break?
No,
Other than your
that's
amazing
it.
thumbs up.
My
Awesome.
amazing thumbs up.
Dude, it's like
That's
it's
it.
tradition at this point. All right.
It's tradition, yes.
All right, thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you.